the Orixe platform. So here you get an overview of the Orixe platform. So this is where you log in. Here you got notifications. This is what you need to focus on today. This is new things that just got in. So someone actually filled out an audit that I sent to them. Here you see the different modules. This is the audit and the audit flow down. So here you can audit your suppliers, your first line of suppliers. Then we also have a function for cascading down your suppliers' demand throughout the entire supply chain. And then this is the traceability module, how you can trace components throughout the supply chain, making sure you don't get any pirate or copper products into your supply chain. And then there's a CO2 calculator where you can calculate the CO2 emissions for your company. But you can also invite your suppliers to do the CO2 calculation, then you can get an overview of that. Here you have an overview of the connections as the company that you have connected with in the platform. We're going to talk about sustainability, and that's our main focus. So here you can read our slogan, is your supply chain Orixe? And that is about, is it secure and is it ethical? Because we're all about ethical sourcing. On the left side, you can see the sustainability score for your company. On the right side, you can see the sustainability score for your connections. This is an average score. Here you can also invite suppliers to do the test. So now I'm going to go to the sustainability module. The starting page of the sustainability module. Here is my sustainability score for my company, and it was filled out in 2022, and it focuses on the 4 pillars that human rights, labor conditions, environment, and anti-corruption. And this self-assessment survey is based on the UN Global Compact's principles for a sustainable business life. It's 10 principles, and you can see the answer of your questions here. You just scroll down. Here you can see how you answered. And since it's a long time ago I took the test, I'm invited to fill out a new one for 2025. So let's do that. So this test is supposed to be done annually, so you can follow up how you improve over time. This is how it looks like. It's based on the UN Global Compact's 10 principles. And here you can read that. Here you can read the corresponding principle. So in total is 16 questions, and they're divided into these 4 pillars: human rights, labor conditions, environment, and anti-corruption. And then how do you answer this? So we made it easy for you. So you're going to fill out a scale. So once you filled out your ESG score, you get an overview like this. So this is my ESG score. Still a lot of things that I can improve. I'm working on it. I've started working on it, but still a lot of things that I can improve. And beneath here, you can actually follow. Now I'm only having 1 year, but this is a 5-year comparison where you can follow how things has been evolving throughout 5 years. Use this. And then what's really important is also to understand what's the score in your supply chain. So we created, of course, a way for you to understand that. So here you get an overview of your supply chain scores. This is your suppliers. This is their company score. And they haven't filled out since August 2022. So I can request them to fill out again. Here, as you can see, you can sort on different things. So maybe I want to sort of impact level. Now it's all changed. So here is my impact level. And why is that important? Well, it's of course always important to focus on those companies that has the biggest impact for you as a company. So maybe here I want to have, so here it's a really, really low score underneath 50. So maybe I want to send them an audit and ask them some more questions about how they work with ESG in their company. Here you can see their supply chain score and how many connections they have in the Orixe system, and also how many of them that fill out the sustainability score. This is how it looks like. So here I can request to fill out. So now it's resent, and they have, when they log in, they get the notification like I showed you in the first page here. So it's going to be notifications. The Orixe company asked you to fill out the sustainability form for 2025. So that's okay. So now we have a good overview of our connection score. We know our score, we know our connection scores. So now we're getting closer to understand where are the ESG risks in our supply chain. So let's follow up on that. Once we have that, we can actually create a risk matrix. So here we can create a risk matrix. And so I already created one. So this is the risk I identified. So how do I know anything about that? Yes. So this is about working environment, and this is a test. And this is the risk owner. And here you can put what is the consequences and the probability. Because risk is actually the intersection between consequence and probability. So if the consequence is high and we can really reduce the probability, then of course we're going to reduce the risk. Also, if the probability is very high and we can actually reduce the consequence of that event happening, well, then we're also going to reduce the risk. And about risk reducing, once we have an overview of the risk matrix, it's also going to be very interesting to put up some action plan, how to mitigate the risks. This can be done in this action plan. So we create, here you can put up what is the mitigations about. So maybe we're going to have an on-site audit. And then we can actually make a description, go to company site. This is going to be connected to risk 1. And the status is going to be, it's going to be planned. So is it going to be assigned? Yes, of course, it's going to be for me. It was created today. And when it's going to be expired, maybe I need some time on this actually. Then I could just add to action plan. Okay. And then you can actually see that we have it here. So once we have a risk description and our action plans, and at the end of the year, we want to look into how did it go? So how did we perform? And is the risk at the same level after we did all this mitigating action, or has there actually been a reduction? So here you can see the risk has moved from very high to medium. And we can see that here because here we have a history. So after doing my mitigating action, actually the risk has been reduced from high to moderate. And then I get this. And then at the end of the year, you could look into the dashboard and you can see this is how my risk matrix looks like. That's where the starting points is. This where they moved to after doing all my mitigating actions. This is my sustainability score for my company. This is the average sustainability score of my supply chain. This is an overview of the risks. So as you can see, it's not so thoroughly, but it's just to give an idea. And then this is the mitigation action that we did. Maybe I want to put in some comments here. We have focused on. When this is all done, I can actually save this as a PDF. That's really useful. And then I want to sum this up because there's a lot of new regulations and legislations going on in the EU. And it's always towards getting a stricter focus on supply chain ESG compliance. So we took the EU Green Deal focus, CSRD, and the other legislations. They all point back at the OECD due diligence process. So we created this annual process where you can follow up in all the steps what I talked about in this. From there, you get an overview of what is my risk, what is my code of conduct. So starting here, I can put out my policy document as I have here. I can add my company policy and upload. And why is that smart? Well, it's smart that we always have the latest updated version here. Maybe I want to send it out to my supply chain. Then I could just add a link to it there. Also, I would need to say, what is the risk definition in my company? How does it look like? So then I can define it for myself. It's probably going to be different if you're a big company or small company or what industry you're actually working in. And then what is the probability? And then you get an overview and a scale. Risk, we talk about inviting your suppliers to do ESG self-assessment. You can check out and analyze in the tables. And here you can put it all in your risk matrix. So this is really a useful tool that makes you go out throughout the entire process and helps your company to comply with the new ESG legislation.